Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Nummy Num Num, and Arwin. How are you all doing?
Come on, Rumpus, get your ass online.
I'm doing all right.
Good to know. How are you, Arwin?
I don't think he's at his PC.
Oh, right,
I'm going to stick him on mute while he's not here because it seems that he's got a lot of background noise. That's a lot better.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I've seen Rumpus's prediction.
Oh, really? Happy days.
And I'm going to challenge Rumpus to come on and talk about it because we have the prediction, but I want to talk to you about it, Rumpus, because I want to shove it to where the sun does not shine. So, anybody out there that knows where Rumpus is, pass him the message that we're waiting for him and we would really, really, really like him to join. I just want to challenge you, Rumpus. You're talking nonsense. Your prediction is laughable. Get your ass in. Let's laugh at it. Let's see if you can stand up and basically hold your cool while you're going to get laughed at so ridiculously. Your model can't predict stuff the way that you think it can. I had to block him on Skype because his last message with me was, and I'll read it. His last message to me, it was 4 points, and I just told him to F off, and I blocked him as a direct result of it. And the message was, he sent to me, he said, 1, you lied about me agreeing to give you the time of the observation. I never did any such thing. I simply agreed to turn up at the debate in which you said you would show the footage and I would show you my modelling. No, I showed the evidence that I asked you to give us the conditions that would be necessary in your model to explain a missing 700 feet of curvature. 700 feet is a lot, and it's a narrow window of conditions. It should be quite easy for you to model. But I asked you what the conditions were. I never asked you in any sense, and nor did you offer a model. That was added very late on when you started to wiggle your way out of it, Rumpus. Number 2, as you will have heard in today's hangout, Ranty claims that I got the date wrong. The date you gave me. Is he right? I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Troll attack already.
Let me open up the thingy.
He's muted me.
I didn't realize you put a public link out straight away, Nath. So let me open it up.
I'm in the back chat.
Yeah, keep an eye on it because
Hey, how's your back doing, by the way?
if Rumpus does join, I think we should give him a special link to stop because I don't want interruptions today. I want this to be fluid and I want it to be concise so that we can get closure on it. And I really don't want them interrupting because it's going to bug me if it's constantly being done.
All right.
But his second point was, as you will have heard in today's hangout, Ranty claims that I got the date wrong. Well, actually, you claimed that you got the date wrong and made a correction yourself. Ranty is pointing that out, and I don't know whether you modelled it on the correct date or not. You did get the date incorrect. The date I gave you, you corrected online. So Ranty didn't make anything wrong. You did. I don't know whether you've done it correctly on the right date or not, and neither does Ranty. Is he right? Question mark. And if not, why didn't you correct him as you were on the mic at the same time? Well, I just accepted that you'd made a typographical mistake. I didn't see it as anything more than that. So Number 3, you accused me of being a liar because you don't understand what the word means. You are projecting your own inclinations onto me. Just because you are a compulsive liar does not make the rest of humanity a liar. Well, I know what a liar is, Rumpus. I'm not silly. You are telling lies. I did not ask you to model anything. You did not offer to model anything. You were specifically and very narrowly worded, asked for what the conditions would be necessary on your model. I showed it in the previous hangout. I'm not going to dig it out again. I'm not lying. You are trying to accuse me of lying because you want to wiggle out of this, you little worm. Number 4. I've lost my little window. Hang on, let me get the window back. There it is.
I called it, by the way, again, didn't I?
Number 4. The only information you have given me is the date which apparently may be incorrect. I did give you the date. The date I gave you is correct. Whether you made a mistake or not, Rumpus, I don't know. And B, that you could see floaty land, which is utterly inadequate, from which I could make matches of the imaging software. No, it's not inadequate. You just need to know that we can see it. It's only 250 to 300 feet tall. The fact that we can see it, Rumpus, is an issue. That isn't utterly inadequate at all. And then he says, I have no reason to cooperate with you at all. Correct. That's why you got blocked. Because you are literally talking out your bottom because you do not want to do this. Because you do not want to make a prediction or point out the conditions necessary on your model for it to work. Now, we all know the conditions that would be necessary. There needs to be a significant temperature differential between the water and the air. And even then, it isn't going to be enough. But it needs to be massive. It's going to be enough. So, Rumpus got blocked. So I've not been able to pass Rumpus the link. So if there's anybody out there that can get in touch with Rumpus, please pass him the comment that we're waiting for him to come and join so we can discuss his prediction and we can address it personally online whilst we laugh at him. So Rumpus, come on, come inside. Let's deal with this and let's get it out the way with, because I'm dying to release the video, but I want your ass on the grindstone first. Let's have a change of speed. There's been some really cool flat Earth proofs coming out in the last 24 hours. Nathan, have you seen P900 Coolpix's videos?
I haven't seen P900 Coolpix's videos. I've seen Ranty's 2 videos, but I've seen them obviously before he published them, but I was very pleased to see he had published them.
She's done some observations of Isle of Man again from like 78 miles, I think it is. And basically it's that far away, guys. You need some explanation because there's a lot of people now going to the coast with P900s and seeing stuff that we shouldn't be seeing. Obviously, one of the consequences of this like open panel is that we're hoping that people will start doing that and bringing them to us and letting us look at them and like analyze them and seeing how strong they are. Not all flat Earth proofs are going to be strong. Some are going to be stronger than others, and most of them will probably be stronger than the Isle of Man stuff. But if we can get more people going out and doing more observations all around the country, that's what we should be doing. And I hope it goes from strength to strength as we go through the summer now, because we're getting in towards the clear weather that allows us to see further. So if you've got a P900, go and see what you can see. Go and see what you can see.
Right.
Wow, 78 miles? That's amazing.
78 miles, yeah.
That's incredible. I haven't seen
it. Is. And at the same time, within an hour or so, Ranty was doing an observation of the same island, but from, I think it was about 40-something miles, 50 miles maybe. And they're seeing flatness. They're not seeing any hump. They're not seeing the effect of sound, refraction Soundly's bridge on the turbines. Sometimes she has pictures where the turbines do look like they're going behind the curve. But then you see the mountain behind it and realize it can't be curved. It must be optical. And on this occasion, she's got videos where it shows that the turbines are flat as completely flat as a pancake. No apparent curvature whatsoever. And then the mountains are still behind. And it's like, right. So there seems to be a boundary layer, which Arwin describes to be the vanishing point, where the light seems to bend and it seems to support curves sometimes, but then not other times. If it was curved, it would always be there, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Got P900 Coolpix in the chat. Big shout out. Thanks for being here.
She's in the chat. That's
Indeed.
well, what Perhaps if you played it in the background, if she gave her consent in the chat, you could play it in the background. Me, if that's the real one, I don't think it is.
Hey,
Are you
Shroomy.
Road?
Hey, Shroom. How you doing? Good to have you.
I don't think that was the real Shroomy, was it?
I think so.
If it was Shroomy, if it were really you, I'm sorry. Was it me that did it? Yeah, it was me. I wasn't sure because I've never seen his name as 2.0 before. That one's not a good person. So perhaps if you could play a video, if I give you a link, Nath, perhaps if you could play a video with no sound and we can just chat over the back of it, would that be okay?
Yeah, if you pop us a link, I should be able to do that.
Be right back in 2 minutes. Hold the back chat for me.
Yeah, man. Right, so the best one that I've seen it with... that one. Copy that. Put that in the side chat. Paste. Just play that in the background. It's 8 minutes long, so it'll be on for a while. And then it says, oops. This video may be used freely with a link to my channel that actually works. The wind turbines are 30 miles away and the Isle of Man is 65 miles away. Neither should be seen from Blackpool if we're on a globe. Well, obviously, in the context of Soundly, his works at 16 miles. This is almost double, very almost double. So in theory, if the curvature of the Earth is reflected in Refraction Soundly's work, then we should see comparable images in the footage that you're about to see. Refraction Soundly did it at 16 miles, and the turbines are 30 miles away. So they're so close, or so double the distance of Soundly. Where's the hump that would be hiding the turbines? We shouldn't see the turbines according to the description. Why can we see the land of Isle of Man in the background if we live on a ball? Because we shouldn't see any of that information. That's any of that evidence. That's a problem. Now, if you want to believe that we live on a ball, it's your prerogative. However, you need to do an awful lot of nonsense refraction arguments, which is the rumpus's job. But if you want to believe that we live on a ball, where's the hump between us and the island? It's very squashed, very flat, but that's what happens with convergence and perspective. Explain this for us, it'd be great. If the rumpus is out there, come on, rumpus, come in. Let's hear what you've got to say for yourself. I said in yesterday's show that for the prediction for the missing 700 feet of curvature would have to be a very hot day, because you need the temperature differential between the two things that you're looking through. One being the water, the other one being the layer of air above the thing. So you need it's a lot. It doesn't bring back enough. So it has to be extreme. So come on, rumpus, stop hiding, stop being a worm. We know you're out there. I've got your prediction. I've seen what you've said. I've seen that you've been preaching to the ballers in Jem's chat. I've seen what your comment is. In fact, I'll read what his comment is. Whilst we have this really nice, pretty-looking video playing. Pictures. Where is it? Oh, I sent it to Nathan, didn't I? So it'll be here. All right, so Rumpus's words, quote. Where are they? Come on. Somebody called Bohemian Grover asked him, have you accounted for Riley's 700 feet? And his answer is, Bohemian Grover, yes, I have accounted for Riley's 700 feet. As I said on Saturday's Hangout, the Earth has an atmosphere, and there were strange conditions of warm air and a cold sea, which lead to superlooming. Have you just invented that phrase? I've not heard that phrase before, Rumpus. You'll have to come in and tell us what the science is for superlooming. His 700 feet is for non-refraction. He denies the existence of an atmosphere. No, I don't deny the existence of an atmosphere. I'm allowing you the opportunity to present us how your explanation on the ball Earth model will allow for this. So we've removed the atmosphere to show the geometric drop is 700 feet. and we're giving you the opportunity to come in and show us how it's explained. Show us what the conditions must have been, and that's basically it. Stephen
Curtis.
So, and he claims that I deny the existence of an atmosphere. But he claims he's done it. But he claims get the rumpus in, and let's see if we can get this sorted. Oh, where's Numi? Oh, he's still there.
Yeah, still there.
I'm still here.
Have you found any evidence of curvature, Numi?
Can't say that I have.
No. Seen lots of claims about it.
Yeah.
Come on, the rumpus. Where are you? We know what your prediction is. We want to hold your words to be accountable. We want you accountable for what you've been preaching in the Jeremy's Discord. So come on, rumpus. In you come when you're ready.
Toes to the fire.
Yep. And I like to also call you out on calling me a liar when I have the evidence that shows that I was exactly referring to that which I asked of you. You've diluted it and come back from it. Shout out to Tim Osman with no friends. Look at the colors in that bit, that video.
Beautiful,
Aren't
isn't
the
it?
colors cool?
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Say again to me.
I said, yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful footage, regardless of its evidentiary value.
How long is this video?
About
8 minutes.
6 or 7 minutes. Oh,
Travis Finley here.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hello, Travis.
have you found any curvature, Travis?
I have been trying and trying and trying, but no, alas, no.
No, me neither. Seems that
Hey,
go on.
I was having a conversation with a classmate on Facebook, and it's something that's come up before, and if you guys have a better response than what I've been doing, but we were talking about inertia and the spin, and it seems that along with not only the visual, so that they say, you know, the Earth is so big that you can't see the curve. The Earth is also so big that it completely eliminates the centrifugal experience that you would have on a merry-go-round. So on a small scale, we can feel the centrifugal force of a merry-go-round. Make that exponentially huge for the Earth. It all of a
Yeah, their argument is that gravity is the point that you wouldn't be able to tell that there was a centrifugal force because of gravity.
Well, but he brings up the issue of you guys were talking about it last week with the train situation. If you're on a train, you can't detect motion unless there's a change in speed or direction. So he was saying to me, well, just imagine you're driving in a car and then you take a turn. And my response was, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about, because we're talking about something that's spinning. That's not the same model. So you can't use, right?
Yeah.
I think that what you need to explain, if you want to explain it technically in terms of physics, is that a rotating frame of is a non-inertial reference frame. So it is not comparable. Like the only case where you get an inertial reference frame, like a train going along the ground or is if the thing that you're traveling on is moving in a straight line along a flat plane. And here, I'll send you a link. You can prove that easily. So yeah, basically, if we are rotating along the surface of the Earth at high speeds, we must be accelerating at all times. And we should be able to feel, especially at the equator. But I mean, this whole area of the questions surrounding the rotation of the Earth are the really vulnerable areas of the pseudoscientific model, because there's absolutely no evidence of rotation, and the explanation of sphere spinning with the Earth are not forthcoming. They have no explanation. And in fact, the more I've looked into it, the more I've found that academic physics and professional physicists just don't answer the question. Just don't, you know, there's really just nothing in the literature about to explain what the mechanism that causes the atmosphere to rotate with the Earth even is. There's just sort of informal discussions on message boards like physics stack exchange and things like that, and then people adopt the ideas that they read there, like that it's, you know, you can see when the ballers have come to argue about that stuff here that they've just regurgitated. They've read on these physics boards. It's all nonsense, you know.
Boy, these guys are on fire today.
That's
Yeah,
just,
could we have a couple of placeholders to join, just to take up some spaces? Because although we can do it, it just kind of interrupts a little bit, and it's annoying. So if anybody can join, just tell us in chat that you're going to join, just to be a placeholder, and then that'll just stop it from happening.
Does that make sense what I'm saying to you, Travis?
The response that they give is so passionate and so full of conviction, you know, that you're just thinking, you just make you understand, you know, the contrary view that I'm presenting to you. So on the one hand, it's easy not to get frustrated with them because they're blinded by their own presuppositions. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking of this the right way.
But these are the kind of guys that will probably be responsive to seeing, you know, more.
Hello.
Yeah, that's definite. He is that kind of a guy.
Right.
What's interesting is just the other day on Facebook he posted it. He said, "Hey, do I have any Facebook friends out there who's got a really strong laser that I can borrow?" And I thought, well, that's really interesting. He's going in a little bit deeper, even though he's putting up a fight.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, you should put up a fight, right? I mean, I think that it's not unreasonable for people to default to the globe at first, at least, since that's what all of generally is.
Hi, Lee.
But you know, but that argument that he's making about the train, I mean, this is one that's even made by some of these more professional ballers when they should know better. But it's easily answered by the fact that what he's really talking about is what's called an inertial frame of reference.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Spears. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you put that link in?
Yeah, sure. I'll just drop it in again.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Oh, sorry, I didn't really do that very well, but I'll drop in the. But yeah, if you actually like just do 10 minutes of research about the subject, about that, you can easily discover that you can defend this idea of a rotating reference frame being non-inertial using conventional physics, and that basically just ends that part of the argument right there, because it's compared to a train moving along, but a train moving along is nothing like a merry-go-round spinning around in terms of physics, in terms of what would be expected from the sort of reference frames, inertia standpoint.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, that's something that people like. That's why it's good to sort of just understand. I mean, an endless amount of research that we all have to do, but a lot of these arguments are just the ballers' failure to understand rudimentary physics.
Or deliberate deception to try and mislead people into thinking that that's the answer when it's not.
Well,
Okay,
I suspect. Hold on, one more point. I suspect that the people that Travis is talking to are honestly going with what they think, with the impression that they have of how things work, right? Like, I'm assuming that the people who we deal with are on a whole other level. They're sophisticated, but they will use deception, and they'll distort the facts that they know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so who wanted to say something there?
Okay, yeah. Rumpus, he's considering thinking about coming on. He's not quite sure, but he wants to know. He's asking Anthony directly where he agreed to present a prediction of the time of day for his video.
He didn't agree to the time of the day. He agreed to provide the conditions that would be necessary on his model to explain it. From the conditions, we can extrapolate the time of day. I'm not asking him to do the time of day.
But Anthony, but you gave him almost zero information, right?
That's
and you just said, all you said was, I could see the floaty land. And the date was the 21st of the 4th, 2018.
I gave him the observer height, gave him the location, the time, the date. What else does he want?
Well, he wanted the time, but let me give it to you this way, Spurs. Cathexis and Isa Mahalski said to me, Riley, come on, he's not necessarily being unreasonable. Give him the time. And I said, I'm not going to give him the time. I'll give him 3 times, 2 of which will be wrong, 1 is correct. And that way he can run whatever figures he wants and tell me which time is correct. So he's had it narrowed down significantly, and there's no reason for him not to have the prediction based on the conditions that would be necessary on the day. So
but look, he's saying that he needs a picture to match against, right? Not an inadequate.
He needs a picture to back engineer his stuff.
No. You're giving a verbal description.
No. Listen. He said that he wanted the time, and I refused. Issa said it was a bit fair if I gave him some of the time. If I gave him the time, so I gave him 3 choices. He tells me that his model predicts the picture. He doesn't need to see the picture. He's supposed to be predicting what we should see. That's the challenge. Now, I've given him all the information, and I expect him to get his ass on here and stand up for his model. Come on, Rumpus, come in.
He's considering coming on, but obviously he's been influenced, whether he's going to be able to actually prove that or not. But Rumpus's standard is that you didn't give him enough information. There's not enough information for him to work with, okay? So...
he's not missing any information.
He's supposed to have a model with predictive capabilities, Spurs. So it's akin to Mystic Meg saying, well, I'll tell you whether or not you'll be successful if you tell me how many job applications you've put out recently. How's it going at work? Tell me exactly what your manager thinks of you. And then she says, yeah, I think you'll do well. That's what we're doing here.
Spurs,
getting all the information in advance isn't a prediction.
He claims that I could go back there today and he could predict what I would see. Well, okay. I've given you the information for what we did see. You have 1 of 3 times. 1 of them is correct. There is no reason for why you can claim that I didn't give you enough information. I did.
All right, okay. Let's go back to the point of where Rumpus, where you say Rumpus said. What is Rumpus's claim that you're saying, so we can clear that up?
Right. It is asserted by the Ball Earth protagonists, and Rumpus is one of them, that their model has predictive capabilities.
What did Rumpus claim?
Rumpus claims that I asked him to model. That's not true. I asked him for what would the necessary conditions be on his model to account for what we see. I didn't ask him to model at all. That's nonsense. That's a dilution because he doesn't want to do it. I asked him what were the conditions necessary on his model to account for what we see.
Yeah, can I just point something out there? Sorry, Anthony. That you're asking him what the model does in terms of its modelling of this observation. We're not asking him to recreate a new model. That's just something he's taken upon himself to do. We want to test the capabilities of the model. This pseudoscience ball model you guys hold so dear, We're testing that. But apparently, he's got to make a new one from scratch. He's already failed. The globe model has already long since failed. All this obfuscation does is dilute the issue.
What is Rumpus's claim? What did he say? What did Rumpus say that he can do? What is Rumpus able to do?
Who cares? We're asking for predictive capabilities of his model. Who cares what Rumpus can and can't do? If he can't predict things, then he's failed. And saying, well, I haven't got enough information. It's like, well, tell that to Mystic Meg. Tell her to get all the information from her person that she's supposed to be able to make predictions about.
You know what's going to happen?
This is a response from Rumpus. He says, but the only way I can make a prediction is to match images. The software generates images from meteorological conditions. I cannot determine meteorological conditions from an image, except trying all the conditions during the day and seeing what images are created and then comparing them against a test image, which I don't have.
Well, let's see yours first then. Let's see his predictions. Fine, let's see what he's got. What times of the day have you modelled? You've been given 3 options. You could get it right just by guessing. 1 out of 3 chance you've got. So let's see what you've modelled with those 3 times. And let's see if the one you think is the best match actually matches. So you can guess the time based on what you model. Once we've got those 3 predictions, if you have to make 3, then fine. Doesn't prove anything. We're just testing your pseudoscience model. The one that is there for only one reason, because you have a limitation on your hypothesis. Right? That's the only reason we have models in the first place.
The problem
it's pseudoscience. We're humouring them.
It's not a problem, but it's saying that Rumpus is coping with globe loss. So it implies that Rumpus made a claim about something. So I just want to know, what did Rumpus say he cannot do?
That he can make predictions. It's that simple. He can make predictions, and I'm asking him to make a prediction if I give him the data. Now, I'm not going to give him all the data because I want him to make a prediction. I'm not going to allow him to backwards engineer it, which is what he would do if I gave him all the information, because he's a worm. So I've given him 3 variables. The time of the day. One of them is wrong. 2 of them are, one of them is correct. 2 of them are wrong. So if he's got genuine capabilities to make predictions, it wouldn't be that difficult. And he's so proud with his model. Why is he not already on here telling us how he's got it perfect match to whatever he should be on here saying how confident he is that it'll match. He's not, is he? He's wiggling.
Yeah.
Predictions.
Even
Come on,
his
where's the
pseudoscience
predictive capabilities?
Model, even his pseudoscience model he is making from scratch. So this isn't something he's just gone to a website and put in some data to. He's making it from scratch with a physicist. Right? This is apparently your model that he's making right now. 2,000 years you've had to come up with a working one, and apparently we've got to make one from scratch just to make a simple prediction of what you would see.
If you can predict what we can see, Rumpus, why are you not on the chat right now and telling us what this picture... You should be able to paint the picture for us. You should be able to tell us what the picture is going to look like. You should be able to tell us, well, there must be a great temperature differential between the 2 surfaces, and I would predict based on this graph that it must be blah, 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 blah. And I'll give you examples. It must be a rainy day, or it must be a clear, hot day, or it must be a lukewarm day, or cloudy. You know, these are the things that would influence the prediction. These are the things that we would expect a predictive model to be able to do. Tell us the conditions that would make this possible. Come on, Rumpus. We know you've done it. I've got the evidence to show that everybody in chat that you've done it. So I want you to stand by your word. Come on and present it. Show everybody. And then let's see if we can do it. And I'll play the video right now. You come on and make the prediction. We laugh at you, then play the video. Come on. How does that work? How does that fit? That fits perfect. Down to you, Rumpus. The quicker you come in, the quicker it'll get played. If you come in with 20... Hang on. If you come in with 20 minutes remaining, Rumpus, that'll be just... You're dodging the bullets, and that's not enough time for us to laugh at you. So don't come in with 20 minutes to go. Come in now.
No, Anthony, I think what it is, a lot of people are intimidated by Nathan. And I think that...
Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. People are intimidated by me, and yet these people claim to have the entire body of science behind this absolutely understood theory, and they're intimidated by me.
No, but that's nonsense.
I'm a YouTuber.
Anybody, because they're making it about the person. So
Rumpus is not intimidated by Nathan. He thinks he's not worthy, in his opinion, but he's not intimidated at all. He just doesn't have a solid model, and he wants to see the image so he can choose the model that best suits the image.
Right.
Because he has models that are all over the place. That
a
are
whole
very
tree full of models, doesn't he,
with
Owen?
each other.
got
He
a tree
doesn't
full of
want to
models.
look like a fool by picking one that obviously doesn't fit the actual picture. So he wants
Nathan,
to see the
check Skype.
picture first so he can choose his model that fits best. Tinker it, and then show, oh, look, I got a model. See, it works.
Nathan,
That's what
can
he
you-
wants to do. He's not intimidated at all.
Nathan, can you put that picture up?
I have, the audience has got it. How can I compare whether the image is correct if I don't have the image to compare against? Oh, right, but that would be a prediction, wouldn't it?
So if he can predict what we can see, come on and make the prediction, and let's see whether it's accurate, Rumpus. Come on.
I think we're getting wires crossed, or some wires are being crossed somewhere, because we have an idea of a prediction, and the ball earthers seem to have an idea of a prediction.
Welcome to the art of obfuscation, Spurs. This is what you're trying to do.
This is what we need to find out. What is this prediction? They don't seem to be explaining it. We seem to be explaining it, but they say that we got it wrong. So, again, we need to find out what this prediction is. Is it a Mystic Meg thing? Is it to do with I know it's not. Yeah, is it to do with your independent variable and dependent variable? How do they understand it? You know, it seems this is where the wires seem to be crossed.
Let me explain that. Let me explain that to you.
But he's saying,
hold on. Let me explain, Spurs.
prediction-
Let me just hold on. So you're saying, where does this fit in terms of an independent and a dependent variable? Right. The reason you have a model is if you have a limitation on your hypothesis, right? So what we're talking about here is no longer science. Science being something that establishes cause and effect relationships, right? Well, if you haven't got a cause and effect relationship, you have a limitation, then you have a pseudoscience model to plug that limitation. Therefore, removing all aspects of science from this. Now we're into pseudoscience. Models. We don't live on a model.
Mm-hmm.
There are 4 conditions that Rumpus needs to manipulate to be able to match or to make a prediction. One of them is temperature, one of them is geopotential altitude, and the other 2 are the ideal gas law in molar form and the density, the vertical pressure gradient. So they're the 4 factors that would be influenced by or manipulated by maths to match the observation. I don't think Rumpus has got the maths for it. I might be wrong, but let's see it. But
I think what we need to hear is the ball earth. I think we need to hear the ball earther's definition of a prediction. I think next time, if you ever see the likes of Tim or Ruhif, try to focus on predictions, because I think this is where the problem is. Rumpus is asking for something in order to make a prediction. We're saying, well, you don't need that to make a prediction.
He has it, though.
He's asking for the outcome. He wants hindsight.
He wants hindsight. He has all the information to make the prediction.
We got to talk about it. We've got to talk about it, because if there seems to be
no, we don't.
Right, they've been using the word predictions for the last 5 years, right? And confusing flat earthers with, well, it works. The model works. We make predictions. And we've never really challenged that until in the last few years, right?
Right. So here we are. And where is he? Where is he with his prediction that they've got? Oh, right, it's me being a worm and saying he needs more data. Oh, right. Well, what a shock. So this amazing model that makes wonderful predictions actually needs all the data first.
Yeah, and he also needs the results to be able to backwards engineer the maths to make it match. Well, that's not the point of a prediction, is it? The definition of the word prediction, and I quote from dictionary on the Google, says, a thing being predicted, semicolon, a forecast. And then it says, an action of predicting something. So you don't get the results to get the prediction. You get
but the problem is that, and the problem here is that this is a flat earther saying this. Okay, this is a large audience. This is a large audience here, where if a ball earther were to say how they understand what a prediction is, you've just said what a prediction is, but that again, it's coming from a flat earther. If I say it, it's coming from a flat earther.
Spurs, listen. He wants the results so we can backwards engineer the maths. That's all he wants. He wants hindsight.
He wants the result to make his prediction correct. That's
correct.
It.
Yeah, but then that's you making a prediction, right?
No.
It's just a video, Spurs. There's no predicting going on from us.
Prediction is. A prediction is a prediction.
Right.
if you
Like
get
I
the
said,
result that you're supposed to predict, then you're no longer predicting.
Arvin, we need to hear a ball earther say what a prediction is for the people who are on the fence, or the ballers, so they can understand it, and how flat earthers can, flat earthers need to hear how they describe a prediction. All we've heard is prediction.
It's been laid out, Spurs. It's been laid out on
and
several
now
occasions.
We've had flat earthers explaining predictions.
He's
Well, this
asked the
can't be.
Rumpus to tell us what conditions would be necessary to be able to see this land from the beach at ground level on a given date. Literally, short of actually telling him the exact time and showing it him, he's given him all the data he needs to make a prediction. The prediction being of the conditions necessary to do that on a sphere pseudoscience model.
I do have his prediction. I don't really want to present it. I want him to present it, but I have his prediction. I want him to come on here and stand up and be counted. If your model makes predictions, Rumpus, I have what you told everybody is your prediction. I know what your prediction is, and it matches the ball earth. It has to be this way on the ball earth. I agree with you. I said it on the show yesterday. You have to have a very warm a very warm air and a cool sea. Now, I only said yesterday you need a very warm air. I didn't say a cool sea, but you've added that yourself. Great. Come on and show it. I didn't really want to do that. This is supposed to be your prediction, demonstrating the predictive capabilities of your, now it's called a model, but this is what you should be doing. I shouldn't have to be doing this. You should be doing it, and you should be telling us how great your model is and how you've got this visualization that's fantastic. You have all the data you need. You know the date. You know 3 times. One of them is correct. You can do this, Rumpus. Why are you not here? And the only reason why I gave you that information was because Cathexis and Asa Mahalski said, come on, Riley, if he needs to put the data in to get the picture out, then you need to give him the data. And I thought, okay, if that is the case, then I'll give you 3. You can work it out yourself. You tell us which one's right and the other 2 that are wrong and why they're wrong, then we'll accept that your model can make predictions. But it seems to me, in my opinion, that they're not able to match it or haven't got the maths to base it on. Either way, they can't do the prediction. They know the rhetoric, but can't make it work. So why are you not in here telling us how stupid we are and how much of a moron we are? Because that's what we're here for, Rumpus.
Nummy had him up against the wall and was like, look, it's fine. If you need all the information in advance, just retract the fact that you can make a prediction. And he refused.
Yep.
He's just screwing you around, man. He's not going to...
Spurs, he's playing you off because he's trying to make you confused about what the point of a prediction is. He doesn't need to see the results to make a prediction.
Well, it can be confusing, right? If the ballers are saying,
no.
Well, if the ballers are saying, look, it works. We have a model, we make predictions, everything works. Okay.
Yeah, you can say you have a prediction, but unless you actually prove it.
Yes, but what we're understanding now,
it's just a rumor. It's just, oh, look, I got a secret in a box. I know what's in there. It really works. It matches. If they're not going to show it, then it's all just folly.
Okay, well, I'll ask that question. I think you should ask that question also. If Rumpus ever,
don't ask him. Don't ask him any more questions. He's trying to have it by proxy. He's trying to have the discussion by proxy, and that's not on. If his model can make
no, I mean in general terms. Just in general, we'll be asking what are these predictions? What do you mean by prediction? Because you've just explained it. You've defined it, so we have a clear understanding, right?
Come on, we understand what a prediction is. It's the ability to predict something that's going to happen.
Yes, but I mean, you need to hear the ball earther's side, because, like I say, Rumpus is doing something else. He's doing something different here. Yes, he's saying he can make predictions, but he needs something. You're saying that
the outcome. What he needs, Spurs, is the outcome.
I'm going to jump in real quick as an outsider and just say that it is completely obvious that Rumpus is squirming out of this, because it's, even if you say a Glober will say we can make predictions with our system, we're not going to say, well, what do you mean by predictions? We know what that word means.
Yeah.
This is right. I'm just going to say this again. We're going to say this is where Nathan kicks in and pushes somebody up against the wall, is when they're being completely stupid. Okay, stop dancing around the issue. You know what you mean. We know what you mean. Yeah. There's no confusion. There is no confusion, Spurs. There's none.
Yeah, predictions. Before. Pre means before.
Not after. He doesn't need the results. You only get the results when you make the prediction, and then you see whether they're right.
It's not a post-diction.
Correct.
Yeah, it's or just a mere diction. It is a prediction.
I mean, this is great and all, but I've already said it on the last two shows. This died when he came on, having been challenged to give a prediction, and squirmed, showed a load of graphs, didn't present a prediction, then decided that he needed another 48 hours. The 48 hours has now elapsed. This is a day afterwards, and we're saying, well, now they need to do a bit more Weasley worming, and Spurs is here to fight his corner by proxy. You're right. It's like, what? This is just so slimy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we gave him the opportunity to change his position when he was here live, right? Like you were saying, I was saying, okay, well then retract that you have made this claim about being able to make predictions. And he wasn't.
And he actually said no, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, he's still standing steadfast, but he's not in here. Why is that? Come on, Rumpus.
Because he's not gracious in defeat.
To predict.
Just not gracious
I
in
think
defeat.
he wants to piss you off, Anthony, is the truth.
No, I think he's
ever
worming.
concede. They never concede. They won't ever concede. They just keep rinsing
they can't
and
afford
repeating.
to concede anything.
No, they just rinse and repeat. Say the
no,
same thing
it
again.
looks like they would say that we are failing to see something. We're missing something here. Like I said, Rumpus is saying he requires something to make this prediction. Yes?
Yeah, he's got everything.
He says a lot of things. He says
Rumpus
he's
has everything.
100% right of the time and we're 100% wrong of the time. Doesn't mean anything. He's just obfuscating. It's very, very
The
obvious.
thing that he needs is the answers, and we're not giving him the answers because that makes the point of making the prediction void.
Yeah, he's failed. This marks the end of people saying that their model has predictive capabilities. And when I put that in the title of one of the videos, somebody was like, oh, right, well, we can predict eclipses. It's like, don't point at the cyclical things in the sky and claim they're predictions.
Make a real prediction that's not based on a cycle, like frequency, repetition of things. We know that if you get something 3 times and it's in the same time period, like the repetition of time, that is a cycle. It's going to happen again. And that doesn't mean it's a ball. It just means that you spotted the frequency. So this time we're not asking for a frequency. We're asking for a prediction based on the date, which he has, the time. He's got 3 of them, one of which is correct. He knows the location. He knows the height above water. He has everything he needs. He knows the distance that we're looking at is 34 miles-ish. We know that it's 700 miles of curvature. We need to know what the conditions are on the ball Earth model for the prediction to explain why we can see the land. Now, he wants me to reveal that information first. No, that's not.
Shout out to Ian Matheson for the super chat. Thanks a million.
Tony, look into my eyes, not around the eyes. Look into my eyes.
Alan.
Sleeping Warrior is spot on. I even see the Rumpus drive backwards all the way to the calculator battery shop. Reverse engineering my ass. Let's see a model. Exactly. Let's see what you can predict, Rumpus. You know that you've claimed your model's supposed to have predictive capabilities, right? You've got all the facts. Come on, make the prediction, and let's see if it matches. Come on, Rumpus. Spurs, can you give him the link?
I think he has it. He has it, yeah. So again, he's just considering seeing what happens. I think.
Yeah,
I think
it's
he'll be.
Couldn't care less. 3 days late, Rumpus.
If he comes on with 20 minutes to go, that's not going to be accepted. He'll just get auto kicked. I will kick you automatically.
Influenced by other sources of whether he should, because they fear again not just Nathan, but the discussion itself.
Yeah, rightly so. They should fear it.
Yes, because now ballers, they're facing flat earthers who are supposed to be, retards. And if you're still discussing the shape of the earth, then something's wrong. Okay?
Well, what he could do is just start a hangout of his own, have his little safe space with his globe heads, and make the prediction, show the image. Do it that way, and then we can review that. Do it right now.
The main reason why he wouldn't do that was because he wanted the time. And when I heard the reasons, I mean, I don't understand what model he's done. I've not seen it, obviously. But Issa and Cathexis had said, like, hey, Riley, come on. He needs the info to put in to be able to get the prediction. And I said, okay, well, I'll give you 1 of 3. And the only bit he's missing is the time. And he needs the time to be able to work out what the weather conditions were at the time. But on the ball Earth model, it requires a significant temperature differential between the air above the water and the water itself. And Rumpus is quite correct in saying it needs to be a hot day and it needs to be very cold water. for that differential to be there. And he's right. That's what's necessary. But I want to see the picture that his model predicts because I want to see how it comes out.
If he has any kind of system that works,
what you could do, Anthony, is put a feel out there with the public. Because again, I think that your worry is, and Nathan's worry is that if you give Rumpus the information beforehand and then he makes the predictions, is that it will look like Rumpus has done the right thing. So if the people can see, if they decide, well, okay, we're going to give him this information, but that is not a prediction. Okay,
I have done.
He has the data. He has everything he basically needs. He has all the input he needs, but he wants the actual image. That is the last input he wants, so he can back engineer it. And he's not going to get.
Well, but that's the worry, isn't it? The worry is that he's going to back engineer it. And
he is going to back engineer. It's no longer. You can't.
When he was
say
here,
it's a prediction
sorry,
if you already have the result.
When he was here, Arwin, not Arwin Spurs, what he was prepared to show us was how wonderfully he'd back engineered the composite. Now, he weaseled it in. I spotted what he was doing, but he was saying, yes, we've done it. We've managed to model all of it. And it's like, well, what you're actually now talking about is something that you have. I.e., he was quite content to show us how wonderfully it worked once he had the information in hand. But what he wasn't prepared to do was make a prediction.
Right. Well, this is what we're saying here now. So we can put it down to that if you were to release the full information, for example, that whatever Rumpus comes with, after that is not a prediction. It's simply not a prediction. Yes.
Oh, well, they're going to claim it as such, though, right?
Of course.
No, but this is what I'm trying to say now. If we had a consensus now, like if you were to ask, I don't know, you put the 1s and 2s, or you put a feel out there, or you even run this for a while, and we're going to say we are going to release, but this will be seen as not a prediction if Rumpus does anything after I release.
Oh, that's the panel, Spurs. Are you happy if I do a quick straw poll, everyone on the panel?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you could get a feel, because I feel like you're worried, like Armin's worried, he's going to back engineer it, and then people will think that it's a prediction. But if we
worried, that is what he's going to do.
Let's do a quick straw poll then. Hold on, Armin. Hold on. So those of you that are in the chat, type 1 if you feel Rumpus has failed. Type 2 if you think, oh no, it's all our fault because we haven't given him the data in advance. So 1 if you think he's actually failed. 2 if you think, no, it's totally our fault because he hasn't got all of the data already. Loads of 1s, 1, 1.
1.
Gem Panda says 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Because a lot of the ballers,
Larry
I think,
says 2.
Sometimes
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
This is
DBR
about the
says 2.
people, only the people. It's the fence sitters, the people who are not sure, the people who rely on authority. Okay, they rely on authority to tell them what is. Okay, so
Gem Panda's voting twice, so obviously they're a bit pissed off that they don't seem to get enough 2s. So Gem Panda's putting in several votes now. Josh,
it's roughly 2 to 1, and the 2 is the 1, and the 1 is the 2.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's more people thinking he's failed than not.
Yeah.
So that's the consensus. So again, you can leave it till next week, the next day, whatever you choose. And I mean, you could have this kind of running throughout the week. We're waiting for Rumpus to make a prediction. But
yeah, and don't forget, he also admitted that he could, quote, censor Riley from releasing his info. Well, I don't mind it being censored because, to be honest, Rumpus,
no. It hasn't been censored. It has been definitely viewed by the public. It has been publicly released. So no, he's only censoring it from his audience. In this case, the YouTube audience. But this information has not been withheld by Anthony. It has not been censored by Anthony. It has been displayed to the public. Censorship is coming from the people who do not want to fail. They just want to obfuscate.
There is confirmation of its existence.
And also, can I also say that Nummy Num has seen it, Ranty's seen it, Arwin's seen it, Nathan's seen it, Issa Mahalski's seen it. There's a few others that have seen it. They know what it shows.
Zoe
right?
Scribner, she's seen it.
Who has?
Zoe, the other night.
Yeah, Zoe's seen it. There are people that have seen it. We're just waiting for it to go public.
Just show it, Tony. Just show it.
No, I'm not giving him his answers. I want to see the prediction because the claim is that their model has predictive capabilities. Well, let's see that predictive capability in action. Come on, Rumpus.
Could be here all week, though.
Do you think he's
like
failed?
I say, because if you're saying that it's in the public, then Rumpus could see that tonight and make his prediction tomorrow, and then say, "Well, here you are."
Nah, so that's giving him the answer, though, isn't it?
That's why we gave him. That's why I'm saying he's already failed. He was due to come on 3 days ago to present a prediction. Then he said, Oh, well, I need 48 hours. So then he had 48 hours, that was yesterday, and he didn't show. Now we're into, well, let's wait for Rumpus. No, what he's actually doing is trying to censor this from his audience so that they don't see how badly he's failed. You know, eventually, yeah, it may or may not get released. In the meantime, there's lots of people out there, as Anthony said at the beginning of this show, with P900s capturing more and more imagery of our flat plane. So, you know, this can quite happily stay exactly as it is, demonstrating the failure on the globe part to make predictions. That's what it marks.
Yeah, and let me add another note, and that is, I've seen the image. I doubt that even they could back engineer it. It is that extreme. If he can back engineer this on any type of globe-based model, then that is a feat on its own.
He can do anything with maths.
He's never going to be able to do it.
He can.
Can I just
do
point
anything
out
What I
with
saw
maths.
in that image, no way.
Can I just point out that Sui Juris in the chat has just said, Sleeping Warrior, you're an idiot. Just let the records show that he's been corrected with his bad grammar and he's got the wrong "yer," so he's been corrected. There you go. Just carry on.
Apostrophe R-E.
No, I look at him there. He's doubled down. Actually, it's "you're an idiot." No, it isn't, you Burke. It's short for "you are an idiot," and you require the apostrophe after the "yo" because you're cutting out the word, the letter "you." So it's "you're."
Welcome to the pedantic flat Earth debate.
Yeah, if you're gonna throw a gag my way, at least get the pronunciation and the grammar and the spelling right.
If it's your idiot without an apostrophe, then then you possess an idiot.
Anthony, in the future though, if you was to get another photo, would you give it to Rumpus without any other information? So he's then got that photo and he can back engineer it from that. Do you know what I mean? So he can predict the information from that way.
Who's talking just so I can turn
It's
you
no
up?
longer a
Is that
prediction.
Lee?
I think it's level.
Who is talking just so I can turn you
Lee,
up?
sorry, it's Lee, level Lee.
Okay, I'll turn you up.
Yes, obviously not this time round. I think it can clearly be seen that it's a win on your behalf because he hasn't done it. But if he's
Actually, no, hang on. Let me correct you. Let me correct you there. It's not a win on my behalf. I don't gain anything out of this. I'm losing by withholding it.
I get that. But from everyone can see how disingenuous he's being, really, from not coming forward with other information. But what he's asking for is an image to come up with it first. So if you was to give him in the future, not this one, but a different image on a different day, so he doesn't know times, temperatures, heights, and then you give him an image and see then if his model can then come up with it that way.
Yeah, but
that is also interesting. Yes.
Yeah, but he claims that his model predicts the image, right?
Yeah.
But he has obviously failed at it.
But this time around, he's definitely failed on that because otherwise he would have come up with an image. But they keep changing their mind, saying that they need an image first, and there's other things. So maybe next time, give him the image first and see.
No, but listen.
No, that's actually a good idea.
Hold on.
It is a
Give
good
him the
idea,
image first.
but
What you're
what it
saying
does
is, give him the answer before the question. Give him the answer before the prediction.
Yeah, that's the point.
Exactly.
Well, look, now the claim is he's saying the only thing that he said he would be able to predict is what he would see from weather conditions. He's saying he can predict what he will see at any time if he has weather conditions. That's it.
He says, I can predict what you can see. Nathan, would you present the picture on screen that he said? At 2:32 this afternoon, whilst Nathan was live, his words were, quote, I can predict what you can see. Well, come on then. Let's predict what we can see.
Yeah, I'll just read
Can
that
I jump
again.
in real
I
quick?
can, in capital letters, predict what you can see. So let's see if Rumpus can predict what we can see.
Did you guys see what Antonio posted last night about that Muskegon shot from Milwaukee across Lake Michigan?
Antonio who?
Antonio, I can't remember his last name, the British guy.
Yeah, Subway Rats.
So
to be honest,
he posted a picture that a friend of mine posted from Muskegon. My friend's from Milwaukee, and somebody from the Muskegon shore had a picture at night from his iPhone of Milwaukee's skyline at night. And Antonio found a news footage where they did the same thing, where they said it was a mirage at night.
yeah, that's nonsense. You can't have mirages like that at night because
I know,
there's
right,
no
but
temperature difference.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and I did that. That's why I did my Blackpool Tower from Hoy Lake at 30 miles away at night time, because you don't get that level of like ridiculousness in terms of like mirages and stuff, because everything settles down. The sun's not warming everything up and distorting the hell out of the horizon. We can see it clearly at 30 miles away, and it's like, yeah, it's because of refraction. Oh no, actually, what it was on that one, they said that I was lying about where I was, and I was like, no, you can see it there. We did it many times.
So we've got about an hour left on this live stream. I hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. Distinct lack of the rumpus presenting any evidence for the third day in a row after a deadline and a day. So pity if anyone was looking out for that particular prediction. Unfortunately, the rumpus has let all of you Globers down. But if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a super chat that runs alongside the show. Massive shout out to the guy who hit the super chat, whose name I forget, my apologies. And there's also a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Please also share the show. Massive thanks to those of you who've shared. 178 people watching, wow. So yeah, big shout out to all of you who've hit that share button. Please hit the share button if you haven't already, so we get hopefully up to the peak, which is 201 at the moment, so hopefully we will breach that. But as I say, there is an hour left on this live stream.
So I have a question if you guys want to throw it around in case I've missed it in previous discussions. 8 inches per mile squared. In my opinion, wouldn't there also be an equation for measuring the angle of an object at 8 inches per mile? So if you back up 3 miles, you're going to, even if you can't detect it with your eyes, there's going to be an obtuse angle.
Yeah,
that is going to slant. But yeah,
let me have that one. If you look on the Metabunk curve calculator, that gives you the dip angle at the horizon.
Okay.
But if you consider a channel called Taboo Conspiracy, he's done about 6 videos testing the dip angle on the horizon. And what he does to test it is he checks particular buildings out that are beyond the actual horizon, according to the Metabunk. And so let's just say, for argument's sake, it's 3 miles to the horizon, and then he can see a building at 7.6 miles away. Then the horizon is supposed to be the point where the curvature is the bulge, the top of the bulge. So the dip angle with relative to the thing that you're looking at, if the thing that you're looking at goes way beyond the horizon, it should start to dip. But then the dip angle relative to the bulge is an issue, because you can see stuff that goes beyond that. So when you overlap the problem of the bulge and the dip angle, then you see stuff beyond that point. It means that the dip angle cannot be correct, and the bulge is not there. And Tim showed that recently with his Utah salt flats. He showed that there was the base of the mountains that were being observed in reflection on the salt flats. Now, that can only happen if the Earth's flat. And he accepted immediately that there was no bulge evidence there. And he said, yeah, it's flat, but what about the horizon? And it's like, well, you can't have it both ways, dude.
Yeah. I was just curious, because if there's an 8 inch per mile squared in terms of the horizon, I would wonder if there's some equation worked out that would have to then represent the dip that we're talking about.
But most of the ballers now that are basically trying to defend their model, they are denouncing that. Even they're saying that it's not really accurate anyway.
Yeah, they walk backwards from that Metabunk now, because they know that it doesn't, and they don't even cite Google Earth as their model anymore. That's out the window.
No, Rumpus is keeping it a secret.
They also keep well away from NASA.
Yeah, apart from Jeremy. Jeremy's the only one that
NASA. We don't need NASA, but you do. Anthony, so you were using Rumpus at the presentation, yeah?
Yeah.
His message. What they want to, what the board is, they want to know what was the angle, why you did that.
I was using Rumpus. What did he say?
Like messages. They didn't understand what you were doing with Rumpus at the conference. Highlighting Rumpus.
Because the point I was making at the conference with Rumpus's message is that if you have 2 apples and I take 5 apples from you, in maths you can do that, but in real world you can't. But Rumpus thinks that maths makes the real world. And my point was that you can't make the real world with maths, because if you don't have 5 apples, you can only take 2. but you can in maths. So if you haven't seen the video that Nathan put on his channel recently, go and look at it, check it out. Listen to the laugh that the audience gave, because you can only do it in maths, Rumpus. If you can't do it in the real world, it doesn't matter about the maths, which is why we're testing your predictive capabilities. Are your real world predictions matching the evidence or not? We've got the evidence. We've given you all the criteria necessary for you to make your prediction. You're not doing it. And now you're obfuscating the word prediction.
Yeah, you know, you're quite right. I mean, I think what these ballers, you know, are failing to understand is that Rumpus is seen as like the intellect of the heliocentric model. He's the guy, the go-to guy. There are only a certain few, you know, ball earthers that you could go to and have this discussion. And Rumpus is seen as somebody who knows the ball very well. So I think I was saying, well, that's one of the reasons why you would use him as an example of a ball earther who, you know, completely believes this model, has every faith in it.
He's just more educated. He just knows more of the tricks. He's better at math, and he's very arrogant, and that works.
He's the self-proclaimed protagonist of the Ball Earth model. He's the one that all the Ball Earthers seem to flock to for answers. And indeed, I've gone to him myself for answers. He is the protagonist, but basically, if you show that guy can't do what he says he can, then he knocks him down a few pegs, and that's where he needs to be at the moment.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to answer it with you, saying the ballers wanted to know why would you like pick on Rumpus, so to speak. But the point is that Rumpus is seen as the go-to guy for Ball Earth information. Right? He understands the dynamics. He speaks for most Ball Earthers.
Yeah, he's a protagonist.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Nath, if I give you the link to your own video at the relevant time, would you play it in context for the benefit of the audience? Because it really does show the point that I was making at the time. The ballers don't like that I've cited Rumpus in the convention, but actually it fits perfectly in this instance. Where is it now? It's the 12-minute video, isn't it?
Could I cordially welcome Spurs to the Globe side? Switch sides. Fantastic.
I mean, that would be something I would consider if you had proof. If you could prove there were curvature, if you could prove we were spinning, if you could prove gravity was a real thing, if you could prove rockets worked in this vacuum, as you say, if you could show me one satellite orbiting, then yeah, of course, I think you could take all of us.
Well, you're quite welcome to come to Leeds and look through my telescope. You can see satellites orbiting all the time.
You've seen a satellite orbiting in your telescope?
Yes.
Really?
You should show some footage of that.
Let's have a look.
Film it.
If you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love to see satellite footage, knowing how unbelievably difficult it is to even capture the ISS at a couple of 100 miles.
Not that difficult if you have a tripod.
Really? How high are these satellites,
really
Alan? How high do you think the satellites you've caught in your telescope are?
It depends. I've got some excellent footage of tubes, you know, the sides of the rockets that are hanging around in space.
Really?
Really?
Wow, I want to see that.
I want to see it too.
You're being
trolled.
Yeah, obviously, but come on, Alan.
Alan's
if you
not got
really
anything
got that,
like that in his telescope. He's talking complete nonsense. If you actually want to see somebody do a decent job with a telescope that is extremely skilled, check out Take Back Space TV. And the guy who runs that channel is called Chris D, also a musician, so he plays music while he's got his telescope running. And you can literally type in his chat and ask him to take you to Andromeda, and he will. He'll just do it there and then. And his muscle memory is absolutely out of this world, so he can do it on the fly. And he's streaming 4K from amazing equipment. And like I say, you can literally ask him there and then to go to anywhere, and he'll do it. He's an exceptionally good YouTuber. He should have 1 million more subscribers. But Take Back Space TV, and yeah, say to Chris, tell him I said hi.
Alan B, I wanted to ask you, how do you know what you're looking at?
What do you mean?
Well, you say you saw satellite rocket tubes floating in orbit.
I have a couple of sky apps.
Sure, but how do you know what you're looking at? How do you know that? Well, how do you know that what you're seeing in your telescope is what you think it is?
Because I can see it on my sky apps, and there it is. It looks exactly the same.
So what specifically have you looked at on this app? So name something.
Just hold on, I'll fire it up.
Okie doke, cool.
They have space junk that they're tracking in this app, really?
Yes, yes, it's brilliant.
Sounds like nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, it's called Skyview.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've looked at the sky and seen things moving on multiple occasions in the night sky. But to draw the connection that it's space garbage or satellites? Nah.
Have you seen metallic spheres?
I've got a rather good picture of the Hubble.
Of the what?
Really?
That's so funny. The thing is so small, there's no possibility that you could ever see it, even if it was there. It would be the angular size, the angular area would be very tiny and not even visible with a telescope.
Says somebody who doesn't have a telescope and never looked through one.
I've looked through a telescope. I mean, I don't own a telescope because I live in the downtown.
Sure, it wasn't a kaleidoscope.
I've looked through those too, but I live in the downtown of a major city, and so a telescope would be a rather pointless endeavor for me.
Do you not own a car?
Yeah, I own a car.
Well, there's an app for black spots. Just drive
Yeah,
out.
but you can't prove anything with these telescope observations anyways, because it's the tangibility problem again, right? And this is what I'm trying to bring up with you, is that these objects are not tangible. You have to assume that what you're reading in your Sky app is correct to match it with what you're seeing, and then assuming that that's what you're really seeing, but it could be something else. You have no way of verifying it.
Have you been drinking?
No.
So a popular argument for the ball Earth is the satellite dishes, like you were discussing here. So we were discussing satellite dishes yesterday, and I don't know if you heard of a user called Pure. Okay, so he was saying, well, what is my dish pointing to? What is my dish pointing to? And we were saying, well, there must be some type of tower in the vicinity or near in the area. He says, oh no, there is no antennas anywhere around. So what are they pointing to? So Debbie Duran, she located towers within that area, and then we suggested, well, they are obviously connecting to those towers, and he's saying, well, no, it's not. So then Phil, the physics guy, he interjected. He was like, well, Spurs, they're at a certain angle, 50, I think they said 53 degrees or something to this effect. I can't quite remember, but they're not pointing towards, the ground or something like the ground. He said, what is it more likely that they are facing? So that's why they believe in the satellite, because they go with the premise that it's more likely that the satellite from your house is pointing to an object in the sky.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, Spurs, the thing is, for a satellite to work with a communication device, an LMB, it requires a line of sight. You need to be able to see something that's there, otherwise you're getting a bounce signal from somewhere else. Can anybody prove any evidence that there's a line of sight to anything in the sky that is emitting a beam to millions of people?
I found it anyway, Riley. It's an SL8 rocket body.
How do you know that?
That's what it says on the app. It says NORAD ID 3230, launch date 1968 of the 5th
All
of...
hail the app.
You just take the word of a completely discredited space agency.
Why would they lie?
Money. Give me more money.
I don't have to explain why they would lie. They're discredited in any case.
Says a man who invents CGI ospreys.
I agree with him.
I agree with him too.
You're mental.
Not at all. He
Consensus of
presented his
opinion,
evidence in
true,
a very
right?
coherent way, and I can't remember if it was broadcast on this channel or Anthony's channel, but he laid it out for me and Anthony and did an extremely good job. And then when anyone comes along to debunk this, they say CGI Osprey and nothing else. That's all they say. It's like, well, debunk what he actually did.
It was ridiculous, though.
Is that the best you've got to say it was
Absolutely.
Yeah,
ridiculous?
you're right. It was ridiculous. You're right.
So how do you debunk it? Off you go.
So anyway, there's the rocket.
Is that your debunking over then?
Yeah.
On my toes on the fire.
Yeah.
So what about this rocket fuselage or whatever it was? Should we just say CGI Osprey and then that's it done? Like debunked?
Yeah.
Seen it, got evidence.
CGI rockets, ships.
Yeah.
I think all your guys have got plastic computers. They must be turning you gay. They are.
Anyway, let's keep it flat Earth if we can.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so just for the benefit of everybody in chat, if the Rumpus decides to join anything after past, I'll just kick him straight away because 30 minutes won't be enough for us to be able to hold his toes to the fire. So he's got literally 15 minutes to join, and then I'll kick him myself. Stop worming Rumpus.
He's not coming, Anthony. Don't worry.
Well, the door is open there, Rumpus.
Hey,
Guys,
when did Ranty join? Hey, Ranty.
Hiya, you alright?
Kudos, mate. Wow, your footage is awesome.
You like it, do you?
Yeah, I shared it. I did a little advert for you. Did you not see?
Which one, for the one in Barrow or the one for the one in the Isle of Man?
Well, the one with the Isle of Man, you're replicating what Sandra did, right?
Yeah.
So, well, for that
An
reason,
awful lot more though. From
I
where
appreciate
come
that.
from.
I appreciate that, and that's why I'm glad you're here, because that's what I wanted to talk about on here, rather than just echo it and put it out as something new that's different that no one's seen before. Whereas the one with the, I think it's I called it a church, but I think it's actually the town hall with the clock face.
Oh yeah.
Well, no one's seen that before. That's brand spanking new.
Okay.
And unique. So that's why I was like, that was why I promoted that one over and above the other one. However, the other one is like 62 miles to the Isle of Man, right?
64 miles.
64. Can you show us? Can you bring it up?
Yeah, sure.
Ranty, you need to call that one with the boat and the church in the background. You need to call it "Where's the Bulge?" Not "Where's the Curve?" "Where's the Bulge?" Because you don't get a boat often in between you and the object that you're looking at, but you've got the boat. So the question should be not "Where's the curve?" "Where's the bulge?"
Yeah, I'm sure I looked at it and it's about 3 miles to the horizon. So therefore everything beyond that, and I think the boat is further than 3 miles. I could be wrong about that, but it looked pretty small to me.
The question be, where's the bottom of the building?
No, where's the bulge? So as I was just explaining, Alan, the horizon, according to you ballers, with your fantasy world of spinning ball Earth, is about 3 miles away from you. Beyond that, everything's dropping behind it exponentially. So the boat, which is considerably further than 3 miles, possibly even double that, about 6 miles away, is absolutely on the horizon. And yet, all the stuff at 17 miles is still absolutely on the horizon. There's no exponential drop. There's no curve between you and it. There's no bulge the horizon at 3 miles. None of that's happening.
Has that distance been verified?
Yeah, I've looked at it while Ranty showed me on Google Earth, and he dragged across the distance and had a look at how far it is.
Didn't use Google Earth, did you?
What, your failed model? Yeah, we use the best we can, considering we don't have science behind us.
Okay, well I'm presenting. If you want to share my screen, Nathan.
Europe.
Right, so this is from an elevation of 35 feet. Now, you can believe that or you not. It's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. But it is 35 feet. There's Snaefell. This is other parts of the Isle of Man. More of the Isle of Man here. Let me just pause it. Can you see all this Isle of Man here? Behind the turbines. More Isle of Man here. All this should be gone. You shouldn't see any of this. You shouldn't even see Snaefell. This here, Snaefell, you can actually, I've taken some still images of this and you can see the transponders on the top, the antennas and the building. But all this should be gone. You shouldn't see any of it. Even the smaller mountain ranges that are popping up now. It was absolutely fantastic. Beautiful scenery.
This is 64 miles. Where's your viewer position?
I'll show you on here. I actually just did it then. I'll show you on the video as well. It's on this little ramp here, right there, next to there's a life jacket thing on the wall, which is here, and this was where I actually took the video from, right there. I'll show you on the video how high the water was at the time. It should be, as I'm zooming out, you can still see the Isle of Man there, can't you? Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All going across there.
64 miles.
So what's your
miles.
64 miles to the Isle of Man. I think the wind turbines are considerably less. They're about 10 to 15 miles. Is that right, Ranty?
Yeah, about 19 miles.
There you go.
So yeah, there's me on the wall. If I just there's the little life draft, the life buoy thing, and I've got some other video that shows you where I was actually stood, but it is 35 feet. And yeah, it's fantastic. I've also got some from Wales.
Just before you go on to the Welsh one,
distance.
just before you do, can you just point out the on the top of Snaefell? Because it's a landmark. Those telecommunication towers are really distinct. So if you can pause it on it and just highlight it with your mouse. I've done it once already, but you span on.
I'll have to see if I've got... I might actually have some still shots of that somewhere.
Cool.
Let me have a look through, see what I've got up here.
I'll just pop the sunset images up while you do it and let me know when you're there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I also saw the Welsh Mountains. Absolutely fine. In fact, I've actually got that up now, actually. If you want to display
let's
this
stick
one.
that up.
I've got it on a video as well. But essentially, the curve calcs stop where my mouse is here. And this mountain, this is actually a substantial mountain. I think it's about 1,500 feet high. But I shouldn't be seeing any of it. This is looking to Wales.
Where are you taking this from? Same place?
Same location, exact same place. All these mountain ranges here. In fact, I'll show you on Google Earth, actually. I'll do the curve calcs on it, actually. I've not actually done the curve calcs on this, to be fair. But I know that that mountain shouldn't be seen. It's... Oh, hang on, where are we? Here we are. Down here. All these mountain ranges here.
This is 64 miles as well.
Yep.
It's just that's the visibility on that day. You can see 65 miles that day. It's like when we diced up Anthony's Isle of Man observation. We calculated it out to, I can't remember off the top of my head now. I think it was 44 miles, 42 miles.
Something like that.
Yeah, but that was just the visibility on that day. And in this case, you've got 65 miles. Can you just, before you go on back onto your images, just so it's not left hanging, can you just draw a line from your... tell me about this, but afterwards, if you can just draw a line on Google Earth for the benefit of Alan, just to show that it is 65 miles.
Oh, right, I just did it then.
No, not to this, to the Isle of Man.
Oh, to the Isle of Man, right, okay.
Same thing, but Isle of Man.
64 miles it is.
And obviously, everybody that's got a P900, as we get into summer, we can all do this, not just in the UK, but in the States. Go and go and see what you can see when you go and either stand at the beach or on top of a mountain. It'll be harder on top of a mountain because you're going to see further because of the so-called curvature. But
right, 64, 65 miles.
There we go.
So cool.
And that's what we're seeing. Absolutely brilliant. I mean,
right, Ranty, got a question for you from chat. It says, Ranty, can you explain the 17-mile video? I worked it out to be around 3.5 miles.
I don't know what he means.
I worked it out at around 3.5 miles. I'm not sure what that means. Glenn, if you could...
I have no idea what
if you could re-ask your question in a way that we understand what you're asking.
What I want to point out here is that there's a power station in this area here. And it's really weird. I mean, I'm seeing all this smoke on the video, and you can actually see the smoke fumes here. I've still got to identify, but this was like a landmark for me. So I could see the smoke coming up, and I knew that this was where I could actually see the start of the mountains on the right. So it'd be interesting to find out what that was. I think it might be a power station, but I'm not too... I couldn't swear to it. But again, these are the Welsh mountains, if we go back. Here from 65 miles away. Right, sorry, what did somebody said what? They wanted to
just
3.5 miles or something.
The telecommunication.
There we go. The recent Barrowing Furnace video where you claimed it was 17 miles.
Yeah.
I very quickly worked out it. I very quickly work it out as 3.5 miles.
Okay,
I think it's that you're looking. You're claiming 17 miles,
okay.
but it was only 3.5.
Actually, that's not where I took the images from. It was on the beach when I took the video down at and the images down there. So I'll just put from here because I was about there, and I'll show you where Barrow is.
Neg, the moon does exactly what it should do if the Earth was flat. Nathan demonstrated it with Chris Monk with the libration video. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Libration is fully explained on the flat Earth model. Just to correct that one there, Neg.
Okay, so we're looking around here, 17 miles.
What? Before you go, hold on. Just zoom back in.
Yeah.
This is the steeple, right?
Yeah, let me type that in actually. I'll search for the Barrow Furnace Town Hall. So let me just put that in here. That's not the one.
Yeah, the horizon might be 3.5 miles away in your globe fantasy. Whoever made that comment. I said, yeah, the horizon might be 3.5 miles away in your globe fantasy. Whoever made that comment.
So there's the clock tower.
Glenn.
You can sort of see the clock there. Yeah. This is the Barrow Furnace one. And let me go back to my filming location, which was...
I can see already that it's 17 miles.
Yeah.
So here, 16.3. I think I actually do put that in the video, 16.3 miles to the clock tower, and it's 16.9 to the steeple.
Is Spurs still in?
Yeah, he's just on mute in a minute.
Spurs, just ask Rumpus, is he coming in? Because he's got 4 minutes to make an appearance, otherwise he's not even coming in.
I think it's unlikely now at this point.
So ask him, would he therefore retract his ability to make predictions on his model if he doesn't want to come in? If he retracts it, then I'll release the video here and now. If he doesn't retract it, then I won't. I'll just wait for him to keep coming in and just wait.
The final word from Rumpus is that of, quote, "He accused me of agreeing to a challenge. He lied about me. Why should I indulge him? Get him to present me evidence of agreeing to any challenge. I came in on Saturday because he said if I did, he would show me his video. And I said I would present the images from the model." That is the final word. End of quote from Rumpus.
Right. So now I'll have to unblock him on Skype and hope that that all the messages are kept. But I demonstrated it in the beginning of the last Hangout. So it's not acceptable to now quote me on somewhere that's been deleted, Rumpus, when I've already done it once. I did ask you for the conditions that were necessary for your model. I did not ask you to model anything. And I demonstrated it in the beginning of the last Hangout. So stop making excuses. You've got 3 minutes to get in. Moron.
Right, and that was to the steeple.
Hold on. No ad-homs yet. Just give it another 3 minutes at least.
16.9 miles to the steeple. The boat, I believe, passed around about 3.5 to 4 miles past where I was. So I think it came into this. I think I did I found the boat, and I think it came in this sort of direction, like there. So it was only like 3 miles away or so.
Oh, okay. So it does put it on the horizon.
Yeah, the boat's on the horizon.
In the globe model, in the pseudoscience globe model we're talking now, just to be clear.
Yeah, but also that same boat, I believe it was the same boat, was on a different image on the horizon that was clearly a lot further away. But it's just what most boats that we see from ground level always seem to appear on the horizon.
The Earth's flat.
But yeah.
Right, so Rian Thorsten says it's not deleted. Get on Skype and share so we can see. Right, does anybody know how to unblock somebody on Skype?
No. Let's not fuss about this. If you want to check it out, check out yesterday's show. It was put up on screen. You don't need to keep. It's just doubling down on his nonsense now. He's obfuscating his obfuscation. Yeah, it's getting pathetic.
But all this shouldn't be seen. So I'd like to see them explain this, because this is clear mountain ranges that should not be seen.
And guess what, guys? It's going to get worse.
It will.
It's going to get worse as the weather gets better. And as I said at Christmas when we were arguing over the Isle of Man, I'll go back and do all this. I have no problem going back and doing it. But now what seems to be happening is other people are doing it with me and presenting lots of evidence of flatness, glorious flatness, and it can't be flat everywhere, can it?
No, it can be. It is.
On their model, it can't be.
Oh, no, their model's pseudoscience. But in reality, it's all flat. The world itself, that's all flat. The model, who cares? That's just pseudoscience. In reality, that's what we see. Obviously and observably flat.
this is me. All I've done here is taken some images as I'm going across the Welsh mountains on these ones, hoping to stitch them together because I can actually bring out the mountains with a bit of color contrast. So you can actually see what's going on. In fact, I might do that actually now. Open with paint.net. We'll look on this. Contrast. There we go. Look at that. So now you can actually see the mountains when you adjust the brightness and contrast on it. And this is from 65 miles away.
Hey, Ranty, what are you doing next week?
Working. I'm literally booked up for the next 6 weeks.
Because the weather's really good next week, according to the forecast. We're going to take a couple of days up there. Hopefully, we're going to get the beach so it's dry, so that I can lie in it without getting soaked.
All right.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, well, this is an image of I can't remember what it's called now, but it's on my video in Barrowing Furnace, and this is the image that I captured. So essentially, where the top of this building is, that should be beyond the curve. So the curve calcs say here, top of that building. But we're actually seeing, you can see the other buildings inside it. You can see this one, you can see this building. You can actually see all of this pretty much. And there's the refraction zone here. You see it's reflecting, mirroring. But we're seeing, I'd say 3/4 of this building. Whereas all of it should be gone.
This is new. I've not seen this before.
No, this is for the Barrowing Furnace one. This was it's on the video actually.
You're picking out stuff that's
it's here. It's on this island here. This is the building here, and it should be. I mean, I'm looking at it. My elevation is at 6 feet here, and I'm looking at this, and this is right on the shoreline, and that's the image that I caught of it from 6 feet, and all this should be gone.
So there's quite a few things that need explaining. So whoever's in charge, you need to fire the rumpus because he's useless and a failure. And you need to get somebody double quick pronto onto all of these observations made by Sandra and Ranty. And obviously Anthony at the moment's put his footage and fallen on his own sword to a certain degree, at least temporarily. But there's plenty to be doing. It's just rumpus. Yeah, he's just not so good at doing it. So perhaps get someone else on the case.
Can you
somebody that can articulate without being like hyper personal, which is what Rumpus always does. Somebody that can say, "Well, go on."
Sorry, the reason why I stopped this video on this image here is because this is where the cresting of the waves were. This is where it was breaking water here. I'll just put a line in there if I can, actually.
Is this the 17-mile church against a 5-mile boat or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was in the foreground. So there's the cresting of the waves basically here, right? And there's the boat ramming its way through the water. You actually see it, right? So I stopped it here, and there's the church, right? There's the town hall, and there's the clock, and there's the steeple in the background, right? And people are saying, "Oh, it's all hidden behind the curve." Well, it's not, because there's an image of the clock tower. There's the town hall, right? And that's what we saw of the town hall.
So there's the church and there's the steeple. Open the doors and there's the people.
Yeah. So there it is. That's how looking at it, that's what you'd see if you stood outside the building, right? And that's what we see here.
But again,
you shrink it down, can you stick it next to it? So just because someone else, sorry, Anthony, if you just shrink it down, can you superimpose it on top? Because we'll just end it with some GIF from, Ruhif or whoever, if you don't do it. So you might as well take that, slim it down a bit, see if you can get it roughly matching.
Well, there's about the height of the building to about there, I would say. The base of it would be about there, right?
Don't you find it ironic that all the time, all this refraction, Nate, it always seems to make it look, it just so happens to be refracted to the point where it's flat.
Yeah, never see this stuff floating in the air and measured. You don't get that. Get it on the odd example in a textbook.
Somewhere that sort of area, I would say.
To be fair, if you look at the gap above the clock tower to the top, you can see that there's an element of stretch going on because it's not proportionate.
Well, the picture that you've cut and pasted in there too is going to have a strong element of foreshortening.
Right.
Because
because we're from the floor. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not really it's not really an adequate comparison. I don't
Sure,
think.
but it's rough. Now we can just have a quick look at the Dizzy Gizzido, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that, the ballers will take it and say, no, look, it's all that should be cut off there.
Yeah, but this is where the curve calcs say. This is where the curve calcs say that it should be.
I was going to say, I thought it was just above the clock. That's how much should be hidden behind Earth curve.
Yeah, we should just see this top part here, basically. We're seeing all this, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing all of this.
Can you just show us on the curve calcs, just so it's not out there with you just sticking a random line on? I know you've done it for me.
The distance to that is 16.3, and the viewer height was 6 feet exactly. So hidden 117.96 feet. If you include refraction, which I don't know why you should, but
No, just
97
ignore that.
feet should be hidden.
No, don't pay attention to that. We're not even close to proving the circumference of the Earth, let alone taking that as read and then adding on a bit of refraction to it. That's all nonsense.
I agree.
If you go straight drop, that entire building is gone, basically, because it's 50 meters high, I think. So straight drop, then it's all gone. Hidden, you should see just above above the clock.
Right. How tall is the building?
50 meters.
What's that in feet?
Feet-ish.
100 and
To
what?
put it in metric, the drop is 54 meters. The hidden is 36 meters.
Right.
You only literally see to just above the clock face.
Unorthodox is trying to come on, but the hangout's locked.
Yeah, it's just full. It just has people on it.
Do you want me to drop out?
If Unorthodox realizes that someone's about to drop and he joins with that name, if anybody else joins, then we'll just kick that person unless it's the Rumpus. So yeah, Unorthodox. If someone drops and then the Unorthodox can jump in, that'll be fine.
I'll drop out now. All right, catch you later.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
See ya.
But how cool is this, Nathan, for seeing this building?
Hold on, I'm just on Troll Watch till Unorthodox comes on.
Okay.
Professor Rumpkins.
That won't be him. Kick. Unorthodox, keep pressing the retry button.
While we're waiting for him, I'm going to do a shout out to That Martini Guy, who is a car channel. Now, I like cars and watch a lot of car stuff, and I've left Flat Earth messages in a lot of different car channels, and I don't know if it gets me blocked or what, but nonetheless I do that. Obviously I put a relevant point. I'll put that in context while we're waiting. So if I go into a car channel, I'll comment on the video, yeah, and then leave 4 carriage returns and then write something like the Earth is flat. So in other words, you have to press read more to read my Flat Earth commentary. So at a glance you'd go unnoticed. So hopefully it doesn't annoy the videographer. Anyway, that said, a YouTuber called That Martini Guy actually dropped a message into one of my videos yesterday. Jacob Walkers.
Waters.
Hello?
Yes, this is Unorthodox.
Oh, good to have you.
Have you kicked
him?
I was looking for Unorthodox.
Yeah.
You need to come back in on the account that we're expecting you on Unorthodox, because if you come in with the account that's not your name and you don't speak immediately, you'll end up, somebody will snipe everybody, and I'm not having it. So I have to be cautious. Come in on the account that we know that to expect you on, and then you won't get kicked.
Yeah, so That Martini Guy, check him out if you're into cars. Good YouTuber. But I've mentioned him once before because a lot of the haters in Flat Earth don't do any research. They just spout nonsense. And That Martini Guy, I've mentioned him on account of the fact that he does do a fair amount of research before he will make a video about somebody knocking them for whatever reason. But he backs it up with his research and shows where he's got his research material from. So for that, I've credited him and said, you know, if we're going to have flat Earth hate, we might as well have decent research. You might as well expose people with actual facts rather than just complete nonsense, stratifications, whatever the hell they do. So yeah, that's when I last mentioned him. But in this instance, he's actually watching one of the videos. So I don't know if I've just shown up in his magic bit in the creator studio because I've got a few subscribers. But ultimately, he's come and watched the video and gone, I had there we go, got a troll infestation, of course. So yeah, so he came in and he was saying, well, I actually sent a camera up when I was in school. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that people actually sent cameras up while in school. But fair enough, cool. And he was like, well, that showed, it looked pretty curved to me. My reply obviously was standard flat earth fare in regards that, you know, for every fisheye lens they've sent up, there's another video that's showing it as flat as a pancake. But I wouldn't accept that as proof and explain what we do on this show. You know, we're asking for what the whole body of science has come up with in 2,000 years. So in any event, big shout out to that Martini guy. Check him out if you like cars. No sign of unorthodox then?
No, and obviously with that soccer account joining, we just had to plug the hole. Unorthodox, you had your chance to get in, but you didn't use the account that we were expecting you to use. So apologies, you got kicked. It was me that kicked you, but it was because I was expecting the word unorthodox as the account, not the one that you actually used. So sorry, but you had your chance.
Quarter of an hour left.
So yeah, shout out to everybody that's got a P900. As the weather improves, make sure you go out and have a look and bring the evidence with you and let's see what it is. Because the more people that get evidence of non-curviness or glorious flatness, then the more of an issue that these idiots have got.
Just looking at what Ranty's got on screen. Wow.
Yeah, and this isn't even Snaefell. This is the other part of the Isle of Man. Snaefell's further to the left. But all this, I mean, Snaefell should be gone beyond the curve. So the fact that we're seeing all this extra land here, I mean, it's astonishing.
It's flat. It's flat as a pancake, mate.
It sure is.
So I wonder
miles.
whether.
Wow.
Should we just take it as gospel that everybody now knows that the rumpus is a wiggly worm and won't come in? So should we just present the video anyway and just remind everybody that claims that the model has got predictive capabilities, that the rumpus had his opportunity numerous times, did not take advantage of it, and would not be held accountable because he wanted to see the results first. Should we present it?
Yeah.
I think yes, please.
We should.
I think we should.
Right.
Why? What's that? Well, can you just explain what's going on with this rumpus?
We talked about it for an hour.
We're talking about it for 3 days.
Yeah, but Ranty's been working, hasn't he?
I can summarise it. He failed. His model does not have predictive capabilities. Otherwise, it would have predicted something.
Right, what I'm going to do is I will present it right here and right now if everybody in chat agrees that from this day forward that we can always cite back to this point for the moment where the ballers had the chance to make a prediction and wanted the results first to make the prediction. If we can all agree that we'll do that against the ballers, then we'll do it. I know that predictions have been made, but I want him to be accountable for his predictions. And he won't come on. He wants to see the results first. Because we know he's going to change the maths. He's going to make the maths fit the evidence so that then he can claim that the evidence was right. And that's nonsense. Basically, when we were doing the Isle of Man thing just after Christmas.
Oh, sorry, go on.
When we were doing the Isle of Man thing after Christmas, different people, Mark Taylor was one of them, and a few other people said, like, Riley, why have you gone up the hill, Riley? Wouldn't you think if the earth were flat, you could get it from the beach, Riley? So I thought, right, okay, well, when the weather gets better, I'll go back to the beach and I'll get it. Or I'll at least try. And I'll be honest, I never thought I'd get it because I thought, it's a little bit quick, a little bit too far, really. It's, there is stuff at the horizon. But then I got the evidence. So I asked the rumpus to tell me what the conditions that would be necessary by his model would be to be able to explain this. And Rumpus hasn't come up with anything. I have seen his prediction, but I wanted him to be held accountable. And unorthodox, I did let you in and kicked you accidentally. But anyway, so basically the argument was, why didn't you go down to the beach and get this land? Now the video, regardless of the composite and Mackle Lighthouse and anything down to the left-hand side of the mountain, the island.
Well,
the
hold on,
video
hold on. Are you just about to show it or explain what
Yeah.
you're about to do? Well,
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Well, hold on. Well, this is the thing you see. This is what I'm trying to say here. Is that once you show this is why the people in the chat now are saying they disagree. Why do they disagree? Because once you show it in their mind, and this is why I said before we should get the understanding of a prediction from a baller before you show it, because once you show it, the ballers are going to say, well, that's what we needed for the predictions. You don't understand how predictions work. Therefore, you gave what we asked for. Now we can make a prediction. So on you go. And you're going to say, well, we gave you the opportunity and it will just rumble on.
No, well, that's nonsense.
Again, you can say it's nonsense.
What predictions are. It's not a post.
Wait, Arwen, let him finish.
Arwen, of course, it's nonsense, of course. But the point is what I'm trying to show you here, yes, is they're going to say to you, you don't understand predictions. We asked you to show us this so we can make our predictions. Now we have it. Here are your predictions. Okay.
No, but that's disingenuous when you already know the results.
Well, the only disingenuous would be is if we don't allow the ballers to explain what a prediction is. Yes?
No, if I'm going to release this info right now, everybody has to denounce their prediction afterwards because he's been given the results. The point of a prediction is to not know the results, make the prediction, and then see if it matches.
But are you following what I'm saying? They're saying, but Rom's stance is that I need something. I need something to make these predictions. You do not understand the geocentric model. You do not understand science. Therefore, when you tell us what a prediction is and how predictions work, you fail because you're a flat earther. Yes? This is their point.
Yeah,
that's
but
okay.
insane.
He can say that. That's
fine.
I know this. But
yeah, everybody knows it. Even the ballers know it. He's still going to claim what he's going to claim anyway.
Right, so basically we're at the position where I've given him the time of the day that he asked for in the last two hangouts, right? And I've given him 3 times, one of which is correct and the other 2 are wrong. Now, he has all the information, all the variables necessary to predict what we should see on the Ball Earth model. If I give him the results, then he makes his prediction match the results and claim victory, right? Do you understand that, Spurs? That's what he will do.
Right, and I'm saying that the people on the fence, the people who are not sure, the people who are asking, well, what are these predictions? The flat earthers have just told us what a prediction is. This isn't right. How can the flat earthers who don't know science, who don't understand reality, how can they tell us what a prediction is? So as soon as you release this information, and then they say, aha, thank you. Now we can give the prediction what we asked for, what we told you we were going to do, what we asked for. Now we can start to do science.
Well,
so
it's no longer a prediction, Spurs.
It's
It's no longer a prediction at that stage. So as soon as you say, well, we've got all the information now, it stops being a prediction. And if they want to claim it's a prediction and people want to believe them, we can't stop that, Spurs. All we can do is demonstrate that we've given him a time to come on. He came on and didn't give a prediction, said he needed 2 more days. He's then had 2 more days and he still didn't provide it, at which point I declared total failure. Now there's another day elapsed and he has been given further information, 3 potential times to pick from. He still hasn't come on. At this point, it's like he has failed unequivocally. Now, if he wants to tell people he hasn't to save face, that's standard rinse and repeat nonsense from the Globers, Spurs. They say, ha-ha, victory, even when they've lost. They redeclare their position, even when it's been defeated. Rinse and repeat tactics. But so what? That's not going to stop us moving forward. We've presented a ton more, a whole load more from Ranty and Sandra.
Us in a stalemate. No, that puts us in a stalemate.
No, it doesn't.
Until we get the Ball Earther to tell us and the public what are predictions. How do you understand? We're telling them how it's supposed to.
No, we don't need them to tell us.
We're going to run out of time.
It's defined. It's clear.
Please just show the video.
Again,
come on, stop it. Just stop this, please.
Nathan, that last file that I sent to you of the Rumpus making a speech at 2:32 p.m. Could you just put it up on screen so everybody can see what he says he can do?
With apples?
No, not that one. The one above it.
Oh,
2:32.
Yeah, I can stick that up. You won't see it in the Hangout.
Spurs. See me later for your check.
Says, how can I compare whether the image is correct if I don't have the image to compare it against? In other words, I need the image first. In other words, I can't make predictions. Then he declares the complete opposite. I can predict what you can see. So, yeah, well, if you can predict it, predict it. He hasn't, Spurs. What more do you want?
We're not at stalemate, Spurs. You're being confused by the obfuscation attempt that he's putting in place on purpose because he doesn't want to be held accountable by his prediction that may or may not fail. He doesn't want to be accountable. That's what's going on, and you're not realizing that he's playing you. He's playing you.
It's not playing. It's not playing me. He's playing a game, of course. But in order for this to go right, in my opinion, is that you need a baller, not even Rumpus, any baller, to explain what predictions are. Because as I say,
this is going to go perfectly fine. This is
absolute bollocks.
That's like asking a baller to define the scientific method. They're going to get it wrong.
This is going to go
we need to hear that, right? We need to hear both sides, right?
No, regardless of what these idiot ballers, however much they want to weasel and squirm and lie and cheat, this is going to go great because this footage is excellent.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's just get on with it. Let's
see it.
Yeah.
We've had this argument enough now. We've gone. We know we've heard all these points a dozen times or so. I think we've come to the point where that part of it's over. They failed to make their prediction. Let's move on now.
Got 6 minutes left, so if you do play it, just play it. Don't stop and narrate it, otherwise we won't get through it.
That's fine. Go ahead.
What I'll do is if I get the application window open, which would be that one, and then if I...
Just let me know when you're ready.
Drum ruffles.
Present it if you want, mate. What I'm going to do first, present my screen from now, mate.
Yeah,
or am I not doing it yet?
Presented.
Yeah, I am. Right. Before we do this, you need to know what the original video claimed. Oh, shit. You need to know what the original video actually claimed. So sort by most recent, most popular. Now, in the video that's now got 127,000 views, this is what was claimed. So from this observer height, whatever the height was, I think it ended up being about 78-ish, something like that. This is the video. This is what was claimed, okay? And this is the basis for why they all said, well, why don't you go back to the beach, Riley? So pay attention to what's on screen right now. We have the land known as Isle of Man. It tapers off down to a point and stops there. Then there's a gap. And then on the other side of this gap, there is some land that turned out to be the Isle of Man. Even with standard refraction and all that nonsense, they brought back the tippy tops of it and claimed that it was all the other land. But the question that was posed in the video was, what is the land? And it turns out that it was the Isle of Man. On a ball, they didn't bring back this land. They only brought back the tippy tops of it. Right. So I need to now swap the... let's try and remember how to do this. It's going to be in Creator Studio. Here is the video. This is me lay on the beach, and you'll see it all in a sec. And at the beginning of the video, you can see this is subject to 2 filters. I've got the contrast up high to make the darks darker, and I've got the brightness turned down. Halfway through the video, I will turn off the filters, and you can see it the way it came off the camera.
You make
this
it full
is literally
screen
so that you can see the land. So as the video plays,
make it full screen, please.
What?
Full screen, please.
So you can see that the land that I'm looking at is the bit that's before the gap. And I come down to the point at the bottom and I think, I don't recognize this. It didn't look right. So I go back up to the point where I know where I can see, which is there, which is North Barul. Then I come back down and I look to the bottom. And now I'm satisfying myself that I know what I'm looking at. There's the gap. And I'm now looking for whether land appears on the right-hand side or not. There's the land. I spot it. So now I zoom right back in as far as I'll go. And I can see the land. This is lay on the beach, and you'll see it in a minute. Look at how much land I'm seeing. I'm seeing significant chunks of it, not the tippy tops of it. I'm seeing significant chunks, and now it stops. So I now realize that there's no more land seen. So I now go back to the left and I go through it again as a pan. So bear with me while I do that. So now I'm back to the beginning. And now I see the land. So I'm going to move back over to the right now, cut across the gap. I'm going to look for the land again. And once I satisfy myself that I see it for a second time, there it is. I see the tip. I see the land. I see the tippy tops, and I see more land underneath. It's not just the tippy tops. It's more land, and it's sat on the horizon, exactly where you'd expect. The dog walks in front of the camera, starts sniffing me because he's an idiot. So I now zoom out, and then I'll pause it while I take the filters off in the software editing program so that you can see it. So now this is the way it comes off the camera. Now I'm going to zoom out. Look at the horizon. 3 or 4 horizons there. Now I'm going to pause it just about there. No, a little bit more. Now look at the weather conditions, right? The only conditions required on a ball for this to work is a hot day, because you need a hot temperature and you need a cold sea, right? You can see that there are people paddling in the water. So the sea's not that cold, but it's also not a hot day, right? And you can see that there's clouds or mist rolling in from the south. Visibility isn't particularly good, but you can see that the conditions don't match the predictions necessary on a ball to explain this. But now look at what my camera is mounted on. Ready? That's my tripod. That is a little bit of sand that I've scooped. You can see my finger marks from where I've scooped it off the sand. That's what the camera's resting on, and that's why I've got it dead smooth. Now let's move back up, and you'll see me stand up now. There's the 6 foot, right? There's St. Bees Head. There's the beach. Obviously, I'm not going to go too far into the sand there because it's really muggy, that sand there, because it's still soaking wet. But there's the water behind it. I'm about a foot off the water, and I can see the floaty land. So the argument is, how can I see that on a ball when it should be 700 feet behind the curve of the earth, and we haven't got the massive temperature differential that we need to account for it? It wasn't a hot day. It was relatively... We were both wearing our coats. I'm laying on my belly on the beach. So all this nonsense about the 35 feet, 70 feet, whatever it was, can be put in the bin. I can see it on the beach. How is that explained? The Rumpus was given his chance to explain the missing 700 feet of curvature, and he hasn't done it because he doesn't want to be held accountable. Right, so what weather conditions must there be present for this to happen? And it has to be a hot day, and the air has to be hot. The water has to be cold. You can see that there's people paddling, and you can see it's not a hot day. We were wearing our coats. It was average. It wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't good. It wasn't hot. So there is no explanation on the Ball Earth model. The Rumpus did fail in his quest to try and make a prediction. We can see the floaty land from the beach lay on my belly. So unless you want to come back with some nonsense, Rumpus, you have failed. You could have come on and predicted this, and you haven't done. Now, this doesn't even tell you what time of the day it is. But you could probably work it out. But the conditions necessary to predict this simply do not exist. It wasn't a hot day. There was no hot elevation. There was no super looming nonsense. It requires a very cold sea and a very hot air.
Okay, so look, he's just messaged. He says, okay, as I told you, as I predicted.
Oh, and let's not hear what Rumpus has got to predict, because I'm going to round out the show. His prediction came immediately after the information was presented to him. How unbelievably disingenuous. And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a huge, massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!